and something I'm into all of the time. Character of the person. Some people, there are some ladies who will not do anything no matter what you tell them, no matter how much they suffer. And there are some who peddle themselves around to be able to get the little thing. So you must let them know the disadvantages of what they're doing and how it is impacting on the others. The little man in the house who cannot feed his family, you are bothering, the landlord is bothering him. That is bothering him. Now he has a little way to do something. Then he begins, no matter, he has to be a strong man.
He's receptive
of
to the
greatest
idea.
value, because every situation that predisposes to stealing, I call it stealing. I don't like this word that we use. I call it stealing. Every situation today is predisposes to this. But let me quickly cut it. That's what is called extractive industrial transparency.
Okay, well, can you just hold on? We have a phone call. Hello? Hello? Please, can you turn down your television set and make your contribution, please?
Hello?
Yes, Shagun, go ahead.
Shagun Openi from Maryland. Good morning.
Good morning, Shagun.
Interesting discussion in the studio. However, we spend time talking. We have an agency, which is the National Orientation Agency. What have they done today? This is the question. I mean, we talk.
Okay,
thank you, Shagun.
Shagun, we have to go, but please, if you're going to make a call into the program, you need to turn down your television, the volume of your television set, so that you can have a free conversation. Okay, Mr. Naji, you would respond to that, the National Orientation Agency. Mr. Okechukwu has talked about critical infrastructure. Mr. Kindele has talked about attitudinal change. Now, Shagun calling in talked about question of the National Orientation Agency. See this picture. Some travelers at the airport, they need to travel. And the security operatives are supposed to do the checks. Tell them, we cannot do your checks because the airline operators, the foreign airline, wrote to our bosses that we are collecting certain things from you. So they should come and do the checks themselves. So the passengers are stranded there. The airline operators shut down their desk and they go inside. So the flight is delayed for about 2 hours. And the passengers are left out there because the security operative said, they say we are corrupt, so we're not going to do anything. Let them come and do it themselves. Attitudinal change, critical infrastructure, National Orientation Agency, with this kind of situation. What else can we do?
I gave a clear definition, an omnibus definition of corruption. And I was able to allude to departments within that confine of that definition. You understand? Now, when people do like that, you can call it impunity. Impunity is an aspect of corruption. Do you understand? You ask the question, how do we tame the monster called corruption? That question will be preceded by what is corruption and what are the things that corrupt. What leads to corruption? And I use the word corruptogenics. If you do about criminology and all that, there are things that predispose. Now, when you are trying to, people say they are fighting corruption. It's not very easy.
Yes, we have another phone call. Hello. Yes. Hello, Jackson. Good morning. Well, we're not hearing Jackson. Okay, I guess we'll get back to
It's very difficult to fight corruption. No social evil or phenomenon can be confronted successfully. Check out armed robbery. Since 1970, there was this law. People have been fired at the bar beach and all that. Has it stopped? There are scientific ways of solving social problems. And you have to be fundamental, but first understand that phenomenon. Then you know how do these things work. For example, ATM. There was a fraud associated with ATM until a limit was placed on it. And you are asked not to divulge your PIN, and so on and so forth. That has curbed the corruption associated with ATM. It may not have solved everything 100%. Science has provided opportunity. When you don't have to depend on people's attitude. Attitude is a personal thing. It is the story of the whole person and his circumstance in life. You understand? Make the situation, as if I come here and this place is very hot, so inconducive for me to stay for 30 minutes program, I will take excuse and walk out politely.
What about the values?
Make the circumstance in which the person has to work. You understand? If you want him to perform, conducive. If you want him to stop, by which you mean you are not rewarding that misconduct, make it inconducive. The people who are managing directors of a company may be given all perks, but they only sign documents. They will not see the cash. You understand what I mean? The same thing in government. A situation where you have the man who awards the contract, is the man who supervises the contract, is the one that will put report that the contract has been done well. What do you expect? After 1 or 2 years, he would have learned well in the job, then he begins to perfect that process. Deny this process. I use the issue of firefighting. They say they fight fire, but it is scientific. There are 3 elements that constitute fire. And in firefighting, they have built technologies around these 3 elements to contain fire. The one that relies on oxygen, they put CO2, which is denser than ordinary air, that will blanket it, and if you touch CO2, it is as cool as ice block. So that the hot material will also be cool when it is poured on it. The one they call halon will suck the oxygen, and there will be no fire. So technology is important, but that technology is rooted in science. That's why I say, if we must sort out the issue of corruption, the emergency aspect of corruption that is being done now can still be done to make sure that they have not swallowed the money finally. You understand? But we need to go down to science. It is a multidisciplinary subject matter that must be addressed scientifically.
Now, Mr. Okechukwu, let me just play devil's advocate here. Minimum wage is 18,000 naira. There's no adequate pension system. So when you stop work, on what do you live? So exactly, you're on your own. So you earn 18,000 naira. When you're 60 years of age, you stop working. And then what are you supposed to do? I'm not saying that you should steal. I'm not saying you should steal.
What we are trying to do in the APC, and what Mr. President is going around the whole world, looking for funds, even borrowing, is to provide the layback safety nets that have been done in advanced countries of the world, as I said, beginning with critical infrastructure. Because if you don't have critical infrastructure, you cannot have an industrial state. And if you do not have an industrial state, the highest you can do is to employ 10,000 in the police force, employ this in the ministry of this, at state level, local government level, and it is going nowhere. Can you imagine that those who talk of Avengers, Niger Delta Avengers, who are blowing the focados, the Waibom oil installation at the Bonga field, if they were engaged, nobody would be there talking about Avenger. They wouldn't be avenging anybody. So what we are trying to do to provide for the man that earns $18,000 naira per month is to have a housing system where he can be sure, no matter how petty and how small your payment is, at the end of your work, you are going to have a shelter to lay your heads. We are going to provide job for your kids, because the danger today is that some parents have trained up to 5, 10 children, and none of them is employed. They are still his liabilities. So those parents are worried on two sides. They're not only worried about the 18,000 paid, they're also worried that their kids are not engaged. So this is what Mr. President is saying. For the first time, we're not only budgeting 30% on capital projects, we're also going to borrow. We're also trying to tell Nigerians, watch out on how this budget will be implemented.